Okay, now we're going to prepare the sauce bases for the chicken. We're going to make some of the antibiotic-free pounded chicken cutlets. We're going to saute the cutlets, and we're going to make a wild mushroom sauce. Now, to make the wild mushroom sauce, I'm going to use 2 of my bases. And again, these bases are now available at Chef Michael's Home Delivery. They are excellent. They are haute cuisine quality, and they are super easy to use, and I'm going to show you how to use them right now. Okay, first of all, we're going to start off with the classic mushroom stock, the Essence de Champignon. It makes 4 cups. Okay, but we're going to make a sauce. So, well, let's put it this way. If I was making a risotto with wild mushrooms, I would need stock, which would need to be of a thin consistency, and I would bring this back, reconstitute it with 4 cups of water. But because I'm going to make a sauce, I'm going to reconstitute it with 1 cup of water. Okay, so first thing, we need water. So now, and this is how easy it is. We just bring this cup of water to a boil. While that's boiling, I'm going to take this mushroom, the Essence de Champignon, out of its container. And see, this is a very nice glass. This is just like how I would make it in a professional kitchen. In fact, we used to make glosses in big batches, and then we would cool them and cut them into cubes and freeze them, and do exactly what we're doing right now. So there we go, into the water it goes. Alrighty. Okay. So, now, I don't like to do too much whisking. I tell you, I'd like to move things around with a wooden spoon. I don't like metal-to-metal contact. I try to minimize it, let's put it that way. So what we're doing is we're simply melting the glass, the Essence de Champignon, into the water. Oh, I can smell the essence of the champignon is coming up into my nostrils. I tell you, as a chef, when I'm working with this, I know right away I'm dealing with a very, very good product. You'll be very pleased with this in your home, and you'll even be more pleased with how easy it is to work with such a high quality product. You'll be able to make superior sauces with very, very little effort, with the help of Chef Michael, of course. What makes this product spectacular, besides its ease, besides its quality, it's shelf stable. It can sit on your shelf. Just gorgeous. All right. Oh, here we go. Oh, the flavor. Now again, I'm just using a cup of water because I'm going to be using it for a sauce. It's almost there now. Very nice. Okay, that's it. So now we have the Essence de Champignon ready. Next, and there's a couple of little tiny little pieces, which is fine because it will melt into the finishing of the sauce. Now here we go again. with another cup of water, and now we're going to make the glace de poulet, the chicken glace. Just a little bit more water. Voila. Okay. Again, super easy. And you know, actually, in a professional kitchen, the glaces, that's what takes all the work. Making a superior glace, it's days of focused effort to make this, and also now the glace de poulet. Same thing, we're bringing the water to a boil, and as you'll see, when it actually comes down to make this excellent sauce, the finishing of the sauce only takes a couple of minutes if you're ready. I have the chopped shallots, I have the garlic, I have the peppercorns, I have everything. So when it comes time to actually assemble the sauce, 5-6 minutes. Sauce à la minute. So, here we go. And I tell you, most of you, with exception, there's a small percentage out there that have made sauces like this before, very small percentage. But I can tell you right now, I promise you, if you watch me do this, you use these products, you make these sauces, your guests will see the difference. They will comment on the difference. It's very unusual to go to somebody's home and get a haute cuisine, high cuisine sauce. It's just very unusual. Okay, so we're going to do a little preliminary like we did with the essence de champignon. We're going to just kind of move it around a little bit, and then we'll finish it with the whisk. Now these sauces, if you have leftover sauce, it can sit in your refrigerator for a week, and then you really should use it within a week, or bring it to a boil, and then once you bring it to a boil, let's go with this. If you have sauce left over, use it within a week. Okay, now we're going to whisk. Oh yes, the flavor. I can smell the flavor. Beautiful. Okay. It's okay to have a few particles that aren't melted. They will melt during the final stage of the sauce making. So there we go. There it is. We're going to use these two in conjunction with our wild mushroom sauce. Okay, here's the ABF, antibiotic-free chicken cutlets. Again, I always emphasize two major things here. One, the best way to thaw a product is in your refrigerator overnight. If you can't do that, if you're in a hurry, if you need to use the product within 25-30 minutes, then you can lower the chicken cutlets, because they're wrapped in cryovac, into cold water, and they will be thawed in 15 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to take them out of their cryovac. And these are nice and thin. So now you can do whatever I'm doing here. This whole dish can be done with the regular chicken cutlets as well, the thick ones. You can do this recipe with steak. You can do it with veal. Right now we're using the pounded chicken cutlets, and I'm kind of showing off the pounded because I like the fact that they're nice and thin. And usually my customers you know, they want to make the meal as quickly as possible, as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Now we're going to cut them in half for this. Now what we'll do is we'll get the fire going, get the pan heated up. Okay, so now we've got these, we're using 3 chicken cutlets or 6 halves. We're going to use a nice extra light olive oil. Now you've heard me say this before, I don't like to use extra virgin unless I'm doing something Mediterranean. Tomato, basil, things of that nature. This is a wild mushroom sauce. Extra virgin is a little too strong for me. Okay, so now we're going to season. Always remember to season. A little salt and pepper goes a long way. I am going to drill that into you, by the way. So I'm constantly saying it. You don't want to over-season, because that's actually worse than not seasoning at all. But a little bit of salt and pepper. Now the pan is getting nice and hot, and of course we want to hear that sizzle when we put the chicken in the pan. Not quite ready yet, almost. All right, so now this is going to cook up real quick. This is not, now some chefs like to dredge the chicken in flour. I don't see the necessity for that, especially with a wild mushroom sauce. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little more seasoning on the other side, just a little more. They're thin. So when it's thin like this, you want to be very careful you don't over-season. Again, this is not going to be a big, long project here. This is going to be pretty quick. If you're making a cream sauce, a white sauce, then you don't want a lot of color on the chicken. You want to sear it, but you don't want it to be like brown. If you're using a brown sauce, which this is a wild mushroom brown sauce, I might put a little splash of cream at the end, but it's not a cream sauce. In this case, I want to get some caramelization on those chicken breasts. I want color. Okay, still not enough. And as always, we're using a Teflon pan, so we want to use these nice Teflon type tools. Okay, now we're flipping the chicken. Got some nice color on them. They're nicely seasoned. Okay. Now we're just going to let them cook for a bit. I would say probably 4 or 5 minutes like that. That's it. And then we'll take them out, we'll put them on the serving dish, and then we'll start the sauce. Okay, these are shiitake mushrooms here. The stems are useless as far as eating goes. They cannot be eaten. But what you can do is you can throw them in a stock. I will throw them into the reduction to just get a little extra flavor. But the stems are not edible. Now I can hear that the chicken is almost there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off the fire. I'm going to let it finish cooking in the pan. And now we're going to cut up the shiitake mushrooms. Shiitakes are excellent. My favorite are fresh chanterelles. If you can find fresh chanterelles, or even better, very rare, to find fresh porcini mushrooms, they would be my favorite, and then the chanterelles right behind them as far as the best flavored wild mushrooms. Very, very unusual to see them in the marketplace. And now we're going to do the porcinis, not the porcinis, I'm sorry, the baby portobellos. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of seconds and I'm just going to wipe the top of these mushrooms with a little bit of, with a damp cloth, just to pick up any, a little bit of dirt that might be on the mushroom. So you can see this is a good practice. You don't really want to wipe the mushrooms with anything wet until you're just about ready to use them, because it's not good for mushrooms to be wet if you're holding them like in a refrigerator. You want them nice and dry. Now what we don't want is any kind of grit in the sauce. Nothing will ruin a dish faster than grit. The grit can come from leeks that haven't been washed well enough, or parsley that hasn't been washed. There's numerous examples, and also mushrooms that have some residue dirt on them. Okay, so now we're going to slice the mushrooms. Now we're going to cut up some of the hen of the woods. Now the hen of the woods, the reason why, I wish you were here actually live with me so I could share the scent of these powerful mushrooms with you. But right now we're going to take this chicken out and we're going to keep it off to the side. Okay, so I'm going to put a little butter in the pan, and I'm going to saute these mushrooms up in the butter. And there's a little juice from the chicken, that's okay. Now I'm going to put these hen of the woods, very pungent mushrooms. We're going to put those in there. Okay, so the idea here is we're going to saute the mushrooms and then we're going to put them off to the side. And then we'll start the sauce preparation. And just a little bit of salt and pepper. Try to focus if you're watching my demonstrations, try to focus on the principle of what's being executed. Because if you focus on the principle, you'll be able to apply that principle to many different operations. So don't limit yourself to, this is a wild mushroom sauce for chicken breasts. Watch what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and then use the same techniques in other cooking preparations. The procedure, the principle. As the chefs told me when I was a student at the Culinary Institute, the one statement that resonated with me more than others was, Michael, don't concentrate on the recipe. Concentrate on the procedures and the principles, and you will be able to execute any recipe. the coveted hen of the woods. I'm making extra sauce here. Normally for, you know, a couple little chicken breasts, I'd probably make a quarter of this. But, you know, I want to fill the pan a little bit, and I want to have a little extra wild mushroom sauce for Bethany, who likes wild mushrooms, and she's the producer of this website, so. Okay, nice, very nice. Some of these hen of the woods are just a little bit larger than I would like, so I'm kind of breaking them up with my spoon. Because you really don't want a spoonful of the hen of the woods. They're just a little too pungent for that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to reserve that till the end. And now it's time for the mushroom stems. Which will be strained out. In fact, none of this should really go to waste. Here we go. Now we're going to put some chopped shallots. They don't have to be pretty because they are going to cook. They are going to cook in the reduction, so they don't have to be chopped fine. Like if you remember with the Merchant de Vin, if you saw that video, the sauce was a bing bang boom sauce, okay? So the shallots had to be cut smaller because they were only going to be in the liquid for a short period of time. But this reduction is going to take a little longer, and we're going to get the white wine in there. Okay. Yeah, 2-3 shallots. Shallots is major in French sauce cookery. I mean, you have to have shallots. They're obviously in the onion family. You can see that just by looking at them. But they have a unique flavor that cannot, in other words, if you don't have shallots, you can't take regular onions, you can't take Vidalia onions, you can't take, it's just, shallots cannot be replaced. Shallots are shallots. If you're stranded on an island, okay, then you make do. Alright, so now we're going to let that reduce. Okay, now, anytime you're doing a wine reduction, whether it's white wine, whether it's red wine, whether it's a fortified wine like port, Madeira, sherry, you want to reduce it almost to sec. Sec meaning dry. You want to reduce it all the way down. But it's almost there now. Okay, just a little bit more. I want all the wine gone. Now what happens is, the water part of the wine is cooking off, but the flavor part of the wine stays behind. So you want the flavor, but you don't want the water part of it. Almost there. Okay. Is the essence de champignon, the mushroom essence. Now we're going to reduce that. So admittedly, this is one of the more longer, like the Cabernet Sauvignon sauce was done in, boom, 3, 4, 5 minutes. There's a little more reduction involved with this sauce, so it's going to take just a little bit more time, but it'll be well worth it. Alright, so now we've got the essence. The essence is reducing. And again, we want to bring it down. I want to bring it down to almost sauce consistency. And then I'm going to add the demi de poulet, the chicken demi-glaze. And then we're getting there. 6, 7 more minutes and we'll be ready to finish this project up. I'm ready now for the demi. And anytime you're taking sauce from a container, whether it's from the saute pan or a plastic container, you always want to have a rubber spatula handy to get what's left over. Okay. Now we're going to reduce that. Okay, now we see the sauce is starting to get down to the consistency I'm looking for. It's got a nice shine coming off of it. So now we're going to take it off. I have a chinois here. This is an indispensable tool to the serious sauce maker. Why? Because it's an extremely fine mesh that catches everything that you don't want in the sauce. Now we're going to, with the rubber spatula, quickly, very quickly, we don't want to melt the spatula in the hot pan. And then the classic is to, with a ladle, push it through. We're pushing it through. Okay, it's still a little loose. That's fine. We're going to reduce it some more. Now we're going to take the pan. And we're going to put a little bit of cream in the pan. And we're going to reduce that. This is not a cream sauce, it's just finished with cream. What the cream does, it will enrich in it. We're also going to put a little bit of, we're going to finish it what we call Monte au beurre. We're going to finish it with a little chunk of butter. Now, if you want to, you know, if you want to cut back on the cream, you want to cut back on the butter, that's fine. I'm going to add the reduction. And again with the rubber spatula, I want all the sauce out of there. I don't want to leave any behind. Now we're almost ready. Now we're going to put the chicken in for just a couple of seconds to reheat it. And then we'll put it back on this tray. Oh, you can see the consistency now. The consistency of the sauce is spectacular. Oh, Chef Michael Likey. This is just gorgeous. Perfect consistency sauce. This is a very serious sauce being prepared in a home. And that is exciting. shaking the butter into the sauce. The butter gives it additional richness, it gives it shine, gives the sauce shine. Okay, now I'm going to put the chicken cutlets back on the plate. Okay. Now we're going to put our mushrooms into the sauce. We're at the end now. And then we're going to finish with some chopped chives. Now, the only thing left to do now... Oh! Yes. Très bon. We're just going to bring it to a boil, and that is a serious sauce de champignons sauvage. Okay? Oh. And plenty of sauce left over for Mademoiselle Bethany. Escalope de volaille, sauce champignon sauvage. Bon appétit.